Ready. Go ahead.
Hi, good evening. My name is Jesse James Clark. I'm the Junior Shadow Spokesperson for Health and Wellness, and I'm also the Chair for Public Health and Sanitation at the KSAMC. The Public Health and Sanitation Committee at the KSAMC had some concerns about the water quality that the residents of Kingston and St Andrew were receiving. And based on that, we decided to do a tour of some of the treatment plants, some of the facilities, both in the corporate area and also in rural areas of St Andrew. And what we found, we believe that we can make some recommendations as to how the Water Commission, along with the minister that is responsible for water, can improve the quality of water that we receive by the residents in Kingston and St Andrew. But before I even give you the recommendations, I just want to advise all persons in Kingston and St Andrew to ensure that you boil your water that you're receiving in your pipe, because the NWC is currently experiencing poor water quality in a lot of the areas that are currently being served, especially in the rural areas. What you have happening now is that we are seeing results where the fecal coliform number of samples positive for fecal coliforms is above the acceptable limit, significantly above the acceptable limit in the case of the rural treatment plants. So for example, you should not be having more than 5%, you should have less than 5% of your samples coming on positive for fecal coliform, and in some cases it's as high as 20-something%.
This fecal coliform.
So fecal coliforms, these are microorganisms or bacteria, aka germs, that you find in the water, and they are a sign of fecal contamination of the water. So you find that water is not the only thing you test for fecal contam, you also test food and some juice products too as well for fecal contam, because it's an indication of the hygienic standard of your water. So what we're finding is that the NWC hasn't been able to produce quality water, and it's not any fault particularly of the workers of NWC. It needs some input from the minister to provide the resources for them to upgrade these sites. And the upgrade that we're talking about is not very expensive upgrades. You're talking about like installing some black drums so that the water have enough contact time during the chlorination process, a proper chlorination system. Even if they're using a drip chlorination system, it should be done in an organized and safe manner so the water is treated properly. We also believe that a lot of these sources need filters attached to them so the water can be filtered before it's sanitized with the chlorine. So those are the recommendations that we're making to the NWC and to the minister responsible for water, because it's unfair for persons to be paying for the service and not having been getting quality water in their pipes. And this water can end up in many different places. Some people can afford to buy water, but some people can't. And the reality is that the residents have to use this water. And when you buy food on the road, you do not know where the water is coming from that you are using. So we want the quality of the water to meet the standards that are there. And we want the minister to come out and to address the issues that the NWC is facing in providing quality water for the residents of Kingston and St Andrew.
Do you think this is an urgent need?
No, it is a public health emergency, because water is something that we all use from day to day, not only for drinking, but also we use it on our skin and for the washing fruits and vegetables. So we want to ensure that we are not contaminating. Imagine, we were preaching washing hands during COVID, and it's still it's one of the most critical things you can do to prevent infections. And you wouldn't want to be washing your hands with dirty water in a sense, because the quality of the water in some areas is worse than grey water that is actually untreated.
All right, so what are some of the stuff that you have observed, the unkept area that you would have observed while on the tour?
So some of the sites that we visited, it was clear that they weren't being maintained in terms of how overgrown they were with algae and so on, with algae. So what we really want is for them to have a maintenance schedule for these sites, and it's nothing complicated. Just routine cleaning would be sufficient to ensure that they get it done. And we want them to install, if even for now, on an emergency basis, some black tanks, so that the water has enough contact time with the chlorine, and for the chlorination process to be either they move to gas chlorination, or if they're using the drip chlorination, for it to be done in an organized manner so that the water is treated properly. The chlorine levels in the water seem to be okay, but it seems that the contact time is a problem. So we want that, because you are seeing where the results are showing that even at source where the water is treated, the quality is poor, even before it gets into the distribution line. So we're imploring the minister to step on this, to get on top of this right now. It's urgent. We can't have our citizens drinking contaminated water.
Where this tour took you guys? Where you guys went?
Well, so far we have visited quite a number of sites. We have been to Seaview. That's when you pass Stony Hill and go up, and we went.
Seaview, as in?
Yeah, that's the name of the water treatment plant.
Okay.
So it's when you pass Stony Hill and go further up, and we also went to Bowden, which is even further up in the hills. And we actually had to hike to get to that one. We went to Bilbao. We also we visited the Constant Spring treatment plant as well. So we also visited the lab where the testing is done for these water samples. So we see that the NWC staff is doing their very best with what they have, but there needs to be some input in terms of resources from a ministerial point of view to ensure that we can produce quality water that the customers are paying for. So I just want to implore all the residents of Kingston and St Andrew, ensure that you boil your water before you use it, and to, where possible, install filters at home, because the quality of the water is currently compromised. Yeah. So from a public health point of view, I'm calling on Minister Samuda to intervene and to provide the resources needed to upgrade these small water treatment plants to ensure that the residents of Kingston and St Andrew can have safe, potable water.